Welcome to Interfaith New Thought Spiritual Center Worldwide. We know that nothing happens by chance, that we are all here by right of consciousness. I love the way these divine appointments work. So if you tuned in at this moment, this message is for you. We're here in community. We can feel the heartbeat of community. We can hug each other. We can feel the energy. And I absolutely love being in community. But for those of you who are throughout the world, this message is for you. And those of you who tune in and have been tithing, we are very blessed by your commitment to this way of life. So as we acknowledge our wonderful theme of living in alignment, today is about living the soul of intuition, bringing that soul of intuition into our daily life, which is our temple and our religion, our daily life. And that as we open to the universe, to God, whatever we conceive our God to be, whatever name we put on our higher power, to acknowledge that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world. The world is full of conditions that we can get all caught up in. It's full of appearances that we can give our power away to. It's all about the effects out there. But there is a center within each of us that knows that it knows that it knows. The psalmist in 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." That we are co-creators with that one power, the creator of the universe, and we tap into that energy field. And what I love about our way of life is that wherever we are at any given moment, we can absolutely tune in to this secret place of the Most High, to pray to our Father, Mother, God in secret, and to know that we are acknowledged openly by the outward demonstrations of our lives. And things show up. And as they show up, we can give our power away to them. We can embrace them. We can acknowledge them. There are a lot of wonderful things going on in the world. There's a lot of good news, believe it or not. Where thought goes, energy flows. Where am I going to put my attention? All of these other things have been going on for centuries. All this political drama and all this stuff that goes on. I mean, in the time of Jesus with the Romans and Pontius Pilate, and we can just go on and on and on as the Easter story is coming upon us. But each and every one of us is that Easter story. I am the resurrection and the life. No man, woman comes to the Father, Mother, God, except by right of their own consciousness, except by right of what we're putting into the energy field and what we are absorbing in consciousness. Now, our intuition, that still small voice of God that beckons us, is always there. It is, if we are in tune with the infinite and we are really, really listening, something begins to happen inside of us and we begin to live from that place. Rather than saying, oh, if I'd only listened to my intuition, think of where I'd been. If I'd only bought that real estate then, if I'd only held on to it, all the stuff that we do, right? As we beat ourselves up. We do what we do with the tools that we have. If we knew better, we'd do better, right? So we're growing and we're evolving and we're opening to the truth that sets us free to be who and what we are. There is a wonderful life coach and psychologist, and she said that she was having a very troubling time. So if we are aware of the signs and the symbols that life is giving to us, we're going to get our answers. She said it was a cold, frosty night, and she was on the road, and she was very disturbed and troubled about something that happened in her life. And she just said out loud to her dad, "Dad," and they were very close, "just give me a sign. Give me a sign that it's going to be all right." And at that moment, in the headlights, a great white owl appeared, flew over her car and out. And her father loved white owls. There is my sign and my symbol, the owl being the symbol, the animal ally of wisdom. Of wisdom. And she said, I calmed. And that worried feeling left me. Because what is worry? It's a morbid use of the visualizing capacity of our mind. Worry does not serve. We can be concerned about things. And when we're concerned, then we take creative action, inspired action, rather than just responding off the hip. You know, I have a friend that says, You know, sometimes I just have to, you know, shoot from the hip and clean it up later, you know, and just forgive myself afterward. But we all have that knee-jerk reaction at times when we're stunned or we're shocked or something comes up. And I remember on watching Oprah one time where they were talking about intuition and following your hunches. And there was a lovely woman, her name was Trisha Coburn, and I remember her story so indelibly. She said that her life was working magnificently. She was an artist, she had an art studio. She said, I was 46 years old, had great energy, 3 beautiful children, a husband that adores me, and I had a dream. Now the signs and symbols that occur in our lives, as we pay attention to the signs and the symbols, we can take action. And she had a dream that she was looking through barbed wire. And beyond the barbed wire were like a half a dozen ghostly looking souls with great big eyes. And they were talking to her in a language that she didn't understand. And they kept talking and she didn't understand it and she didn't understand it. And she woke up shaken. And then she shook it off and went about her business. And a week later, she fell asleep. There was the barbed wire, but instead of a half a dozen souls with the ghostly big eyes, there were a dozen trying to speak to her in a language she didn't understand. And she woke up, she said, I woke up shaken again. And I just brushed it off again. A week later, there were not a dozen, there were 20 souls beyond the barbed wire. And she says they were just kind of doing these gyrations and speaking to her, but she didn't understand what they were saying. And she was so shaken that she called the doctor that morning. And she said she made an appointment. And her husband said, you're overreacting, honey. It's probably nothing. And she said, no, I want a physical. They said, you just had a physical 6 months ago. She goes, I want some blood work then. And she convinced her doctor. And she went in. And that later on in the week, she got a call from the doctor. Your blood work is perfect. Fabulous. Felt good. A week later, she has a dream. There is barbed wire and there's no one there. And she begins to sob and she begins to cry out. And she says, please help me. What do you want me to do? And at that moment, a voice, a lone voice said, look deeper. Look deeper. She called the doctor. She said, what is the deepest part of the human anatomy? And he said, well, the colon, I guess. She goes, I want a colonoscopy. He said, your insurance won't cover it. All your tests have been great. She goes, I don't care what you're saying. Give me what I want. She went in. She said, and I want to be awake. And as the camera went through the colon, all of a sudden she heard the doctor say, oh my. And there was a dark mass within the colon. Had she waited even 2 months, it would have been a different story. They caught it, she was healed, and she arose knowing that when you follow the still small voice of God, be still and know that I am God, that when we listen, we take action. We know that faith without works is dead. Yeah, we can, be in our little bubble and think everything's great, but if we have that feeling, we need to act upon that feeling. When we need to call out, Dad, give me a sign. And it can be our Father, Mother, God, give me a sign and a symbol that will carry me through this experience and come out on the other side of that experience. We have all had those moments. We've all traveled the journey of life, and we've had amazing moments that have been magical and miraculous, mystical moments. And we've had the moments where we needed to be still and know that I am God, that energy moves and lives and has its being through each and every one of us, that God is the very energy and light that moves through this physical mechanism, that we are all vehicles of the divine. And one fun story about intuition was an 11-year-old boy on January 8th, 1946. Fleet will really appreciate this. And he went in and it was his birthday, and he said to Mama, and they were from Mississippi, that he wanted a bicycle. Well, the bicycle that he'd had his eye on was sold. And so Mama said, well, we'll just order another one. And he saw up above, he saw a guitar. And Mama said, no, you want a bicycle. You know, we'll get it, and we're going to make you a cake, and it's your birthday, and you want a bicycle. And he saw this great guitar, and the guy that was he's in the shop, and he took the guitar down, and he began to play, and he played some tunes. And the little 11-year-old boy from Mississippi said, oh, Mama, I want that guitar. And so she said, well, son, it's more money than, the bicycle. And so she, pulled out some change and to pay on, on the guitar, and went on home, and she was in the kitchen, and she was making stuff for her boy's birthday, and heard him out on the front porch just strumming that guitar. And he had a natural knack, didn't take a lesson, but he had a knack, he had an ear. And she was, humming along with the guitar. And that was the day that this little 11-year-old boy that saw a guitar on that wall became Elvis Presley, the greatest singer, and put rock music right on the map, because they were sold out of a bicycle, which he really thought he wanted. See how the universe works? But there on the wall was this little old guitar, and that little old guitar was going to take him throughout the world with every great award that there is to be given to a singer, and the writing of his own songs. I love the way the universe works, that we come into the planet with so many gifts, but we have proclivities of what we should do. When I was 9 years old, I gave my first sermon. I begged my father for a playhouse, and my dad, a World War II veteran, and kind of, was off on his own thing with alcohol. He said he was going to build it. And so he got as far as kind of like a flat surface and then something, around it. And so then he decided to have him put sand in it, so it became a sandbox. So at 9 years old, where's my playhouse? At 9 years old, I just took it, pulled it up, let the sand fall where it would, the side that was facing the dirt. At Christ Community Church, remember they used to give out those beautiful calendars with pictures of Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and every apostle that there was, and I glued those on so it wouldn't be the dirt side. And I gave my first sermon about loaves and fishes, and everybody who listened, they got peanut brittle. And Jimmy Rose, he did not listen. He talked during my sermon, and so I was very conditional in those days. He did not get any peanut brittle at all. See how far I've come? Right? And my mother was taking pictures out her bedroom window. She just like, where's she getting all this? And she said you were so fluid, and got the loaves and the fishes, and there were only 5 little fishies, and there were these little loaves, and Jesus came in, and he just put his hand on it, and all the 5,000 were fed. That's how it works, because the universe is made of electromagnetic energy. And you can say to this divine substance, expand. And it does in miraculous ways. And the ancient Aramaic say that these caravans came along and they had all this extra food and they gave it. Who cares how God sources it? If it's a caravan, more power to them. We don't care, but it's there. The demonstration is there. It's like God is my source, and sometimes it comes from avenues and channels that we thought, how did that ever happen? And the minute we think, oh, I've done so much for them, this is the thanks I get. Someone else will come in and give the gift. And no one that you've ever given to, which is how I love how this works, and they give a special gift. And if we can open to the intuition, be still and know that I am God, that I am a co-creator with God, that I open myself up to these divine gifts, because everyone has spiritual gifts. We shut ourselves down. And when we shut ourselves down, then we are not receptive to the energy in the universe that allows us to come forth in such a divine way. And I believe that even the profane becomes sacred the minute we get it. The minute we get it, it doesn't matter what our journey has been. The minute we get it, we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. Be not conformed to the things of this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That it's a new day for each and every one of us. It's a new moment. So all of those experiences that we might have said, God, what was I thinking? I'm so ashamed of this, that, and the other. Just bring it in and realize I wouldn't be who I am today without this journey. And so I spiritualize everything I've ever experienced. I spiritualize it. I'm here today, and I'm here whole, perfect, and complete. This is our promise of the divine that flows through each of us. So on this great day, when we come together with great sense of celebration and a sense of growth, and we set a tone before the service, and everyone in our circle, the one thing they wanted from our service today was joy, because joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. Joy. So I wish for each and every one of us that joy that just absolutely bubbles up and spills over. Give that you may receive, that your joy may be full to overflowing. And for all of you who have tuned in at this moment, we at the Center for the Celebration of Life, Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, acknowledge you. We love you, and we know that this is a new day. It's a new opportunity. And we do thank you for your tithes and your contributions for our ministry, because it allows us to keep this message out into the world. And for each and every one of you who are here today, you are the center. Each and every one of you're the center. You go out and you touch someone who touches someone who touches someone. And that's how the transmission of energy works, is that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. What does it do? It only creates more light. And we're each going somewhere, and where is that? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you.